In this video, I'll show you how to add custom CSS codes of your own within WordPress. So suppose you have a theme or a plugin which you're using the free version and you want to make changes to a certain element, but since you're using the free version, you can't make changes to them. Well, worry not, my friend. Within WordPress, you can add in your own custom CSS codes, assuming you know how to write your own CSS codes. I'll show you how to do that for free. So let's get started. So before understanding where to put your CSS codes within your WordPress website, I think it's important that you know how CSS works. Generally, CSS is used to style elements, and the general process of manipulating any sort of elements within your WordPress site is, you generally right-click whatever element you want to manipulate. In my case, I'm going to hide these course categories right here. In my case, I'm going to hide these categories right here. I don't like these categories. And so, I'd right-click, open up my inspect element. This is a standard feature within every browser, and basically, you can hover over the element, click on it, and right here you can see this element right here has a class, CM post categories, right? I would pick out this class, and what I can do is right here in the styles tab, I can also see what sort of other styling options there are, and you can see right here for this class, CM post categories, there are the following styles. And suppose for whatever reason from my theme, I cannot hide these. So firstly, I would write my CSS code, and that would go something like this. I have a plugin here called Live CSS or something, which basically applies whatever CSS code I write into this small window right here. First things first, I'm going to paste in the class that I'm targeting. This right here is the class, and you'll have to put a period before any of these classes just to make sure that the system understands this is a CSS class and what element you're targeting, right? So as soon as I put the period before CM post categories, then guess what? Right here, it's highlighted, and now I can write my code. I can simply put in display none. And this right here is supposed to be a colon. There you go, display none. And once that is done, you can see that categories are no longer shown. So this is just a very basic example of how CSS works and how generally you would pick out classes for elements and then manipulate them with your own code, right? And I'm going to show you a few different ways you can implement your CSS codes into your WordPress site. All right, so let's go over the first method. Now this one's pretty simple. If you're using the classic theme, then basically what you can do is you can go into customize within the appearance tab, and here you should be able to see something called the additional CSS. So this is one of the places where you can keep your CSS code. Paste it in like so. And one very helpful tip, make sure you have the habit of leaving comments just so you know in the future what this code is supposed to do. So CM post categories, this thing hides post categories, right? So there you go, hides post categories. This is the code right here. In the future, a few years down the line, I look up, what does this code do? Well, now I know. So that's why leaving comments is very important. And if you check right here, whatever changes I make will be updated automatically. So there you go. You can see the categories are now hidden. So this is how it works. But there's one issue with this approach. And the issue is, so right now I'm using this theme called ColorMag, and I've put my CSS codes into the additional CSS window of ColorMag's customizer, right? And if the plugin updates, then all those CSS codes, they'll be wiped right out. So there's one precaution that you will have to take if you're putting your CSS codes within the additional CSS tab in your customizer. That is to have a child theme. And how do you create a child theme? Now you may have a question, what is a child theme? Without making it super complicated and keeping it very simple, a child theme is basically a theme that mimics your main theme. So if I were to create a child theme of ColorMag, it's going to mimic ColorMag, but it's going to be a totally separate theme of its own. So in that case, what will happen is I can put in my CSS codes into that child theme, and if my main theme like ColorMag updates, then the child theme will stay intact, and all my CSS codes and all the other settings, they will remain intact as well. That's how it works. Child theme is a little bit more vast than what I just told you, so if you want to know more about child themes, then you'll have to do your research. But yeah, to create a child theme, basically you'll have to go into plugins, add another plugin. Now this is the easier way to create child theme, alright? I'm installing a plugin here, and now you might be thinking, why am I installing a plugin? Well, you can do it manually, but this just speeds up the process, and then you can leave the plugin later on. So simply type in child theme creator. Now I'm not sponsored by any of these plugins, so whatever comes up, child theme generator, install the plugin, activate it. So now once the plugin has been activated, now this one has its menu within appearance and child theme gen. So I'm simply going to go there. Alright, so using this plugin, very simple. It says choose your theme. In my case, it's ColorMag. Now you can give your child theme a name, or you can just leave it as it is. ColorMag child, author name, you can write your own author name if you want to. You can give your child theme a description. I'm not going to do any of these. I'm simply going to tick this box right here, create and activate. Yeah, that's about it. I'm just going to create the child theme. Alright, so for some reason I'm getting this error right here. I think the easiest way to solve this is to upload my own screenshot, so I'll do that. So this is an AI generated image, so it should be fine. I'm just going to create the child theme, and there you go. The theme has been created, and now I'm totally safe to put my CSS codes into the additional CSS tab right here. So, bam, paste in my code and I should be good to go. Alright, so that was the first way to add CSS codes within your WordPress site. Alright, so now I'm extending this first section a bit. So suppose you're not using a classic theme and instead you're using an FSE theme where you can create your headers, footers, everything out of Gutenberg blocks, then it's a little bit different there. So it's the same thing. You're going to add your CSS codes within the additional CSS tab, but if you're using an FSE theme, the menu is within the editor, which I will show you in just a sec. Alright, so I'm just using this block theme, 2023, the default WordPress block theme. And for this one as well, you'll have to create your child theme if you want your CSS codes to not get wiped away when you're updating the theme. So now on the additional CSS tab, basically you have to go into editor and then here go into styles. Then click on this edit icon right here. Once you do so, continue. Now, if you click on these three dots, you'll have your additional CSS tab right here and you can basically paste in your CSS codes. There you go, pretty simple. And make sure you create a child theme for this as well. So yeah, that's how it goes. Alright, so now on to the second method. This is the method that I prefer. Now this one, regardless of which theme you're using, it could be a classic theme or an FSE blocks theme. And also if you're using something like a page builder like Elementor or Divi, etc., and then this is going to work fine for that as well. So now this one does require you to install a new plugin, but this plugin is going to be very worth it. Simply search for Code Snippets, and this right here is the plugin. My bad, it's not Code Snippets, it's WP Code. This is the plugin that I use. You can basically add your own CSS code snippets using this plugin, so click on install now. And yeah, I'm not sponsored by this plugin, I just use this plugin on a daily basis. So yeah, activate. So there you go. Once activated, you'll see this code snippets menu right here. Simply click on it, then you can add your new snippet. Once you click on add new, you're going to see this menu. You can simply click on add your custom code, use snippet, and then here you can paste in your code. And I think I need to use a tab here instead of the space, so I'm going to do that. There you go. And the good thing about this is I don't have to give my comments. I can simply cut this out and then I can give a name for the snippet, hides post categories. And what sort of snippet this is a CSS snippet. So I'm simply going to select CSS snippet. I'm going to make it active and then save the snippet. So now this plugin is basically going to insert this CSS code site-wide, but you can play around with the parameters. So right here, if you see insert method, auto insert. So right now it's inserting this code throughout your site on the header, site-wide header. There's an option where you can do it on the site-wide footer or on the site-wide body. In our case, since I have targeted a very generic class right here, CM post categories. So if I make it so this code is inserted in my site-wide body, then what's going to happen is regardless of whatever page I'm using, wherever this class is shown, then this code will be executed. Now in some cases you may not want this. Now you may want CM post categories to only be hidden in a certain page. So in that case, what you can do is you can basically click on the shortcode option and you can copy the shortcode. You can go into your page editor, go into pages. So suppose I want to do this in my home page, then what I'm going to have to do is I'm simply going to have to add a shortcode block just like so, and then I'll have to paste in my code. It's better generally if you just put this at the end of the page. Now I'll say this method is not exactly recommended because you're adding more blocks into your page and sometimes that may cause errors, but you can do this. You can turn your snippets into shortcodes and make sure the shortcode only executes on whatever page you put the shortcode block into. Or there's another way where what you can do is if you're using the free version of this plugin, you can click on auto insert, you can go down here, conditional logic, enable it, and conditions, you're only going to show the snippet if page URL is, so I'm going to take this URL right here, blog, so I'm simply going to go right there, paste in this URL /blog, and if I update this, so now what's going to happen is this code right here is only going to be inserted in the site-wide body, but since we have conditional logic, only if the page URL is your site domain /blog, it's only going to apply to the blog section. So now what's going to happen is this code right here is only going to be inserted into the body, and since we have conditional logic, only if the URL is whatever you put in. So in my case, it's only going to execute in the body section of my site's blog. So there you go, pretty simple. This is how it works, and this method does not care if you're using a classic theme, a block theme, or a page builder. This is much simpler, and if you go into the Code Snippets dashboard, you can basically have all your code right here. So the one that I just created, hides post categories, is right here. And suppose I have a lot of different codes, then I can also filter them by CSS snippets, filter, and I'll say just my CSS codes. And the good thing about this plugin is that you can add CSS, PHP, JavaScript, HTML, and a whole lot of other snippets as well. I'll show you exactly what you can add. HTML, a text snippet, block snippet, which is available only in the Pro version, but you can add JavaScript snippets, PHP, Universal, CSS. So you can do a lot of things in the free version using this plugin. So that's why I highly recommend this plugin. And also you can easily manage your snippets as well. You can turn them off or on. And yeah, again, I'm not sponsored by this plugin, though I'd love to be sponsored by this plugin. But yeah, those are the two ways you can add your own custom CSS snippets into your WordPress site. Also, there's another way you can load your CSS. It's by going to the style sheet and then loading your code there. But that method is kind of complex. And since you already have an additional CSS tab within the WordPress customizer, I think that method is obsolete. So I'm not showing that method here. So if you guys found this video helpful, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, and I'll see you whenever I'll see you. Take care.